Cash handouts for everyone. Let's have a look. Good evening, everyone. Florian Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I've got my evening stein of coffee, and I thought we'd have a look at this article from news.com.au regarding the potential for cash handouts for every citizen in the nation. Well, I'm assuming every citizen, like the Rudd-era handouts. Now, I went and I asked Rachel, I said, this may be happening. What would you spend it on? Would you put it off debt? Would you, buy some more food? Toilet paper? And no, she said, instantly, an overlocker. Not even thinking. And I said, well, first you need to lie to me and tell me all the things you're going to make for me to justify it to your husband. And we both know that's what she spends free government handout money on. Oh, there you go. She's been pushing for an overlocker for a while. And of course, it has to be an expensive one, not a dodgy one. For the money of a good overlocker, I could get a fantastic computer gaming rig. Anyway, what would I spend it on? Probably silver or gold, to be honest. I'd do my part for the economy, supporting the retail sector. But we'll have to see. So let's have a look, guys. Let's have a look. I consider this a sign of desperation if the government is considering it. Really. Because what will it do to inflation? It may help some people with some emergency money, but let's have a look. Morrison government's substantial stimulus package could include the Rudd-style cash handout. After previously ruling it out, the government is understood to be considering a cash handouts as part of its surplus-busting stimulus package. And I know people may get excited going, yes, fantastic, free money, but there's one thing you need to consider, guys. We're all going to pay for it eventually. It's all going to be taken from us in tax one way or another, in a petrol tax, cigarette tax, income tax, one of the 50 payroll tax, one of the other 50 million taxes that we get. It's not really free money. It's money they've taken from us with one hand, taken a big chunk out of it and are handing it back now. So if it's not us, it's future generations, guys, that are going to have to pay for it. The Morrison government is set to give up on its promised budget surplus as it prepares to deliver a multi-billion-dollar stimulus package this week to deal with the outbreak that's hitting the country's economy. Sky News political editor Andrew Clennell has revealed Mr. Morrison is in discussions with his team for ways to distribute close to $10 billion in stimulus to help the economy, and is considering a Kevin Rudd-style cash handout as part of the package. Here's the issue, guys. Here's another consideration. What if we have everyone is given money and encouraged to do a cash splash? They all start shopping and congregating in shops. What other issues might that arise? Think about that. Think about that. Clennell said even cash handouts to ordinary citizens were still on the table, but the idea was facing fierce opposition from finance and treasury officials who were reluctant to offer the package to ordinary citizens. Even cash handouts to ordinary citizens are still on the table as the government wrestles with its stimulus package, Clennell said. What about a debt jubilee type of thing where you get a cash handout, but if you have debts, it's required to be spent on that first? Wouldn't that be good? But then probably people would run out and get debts for things. Probably backfire. I understand cash handouts similar to what occurred in the Rudd era have not been ruled out, but finance and treasury officials are said to be pushing back against this sort of stimulus, and the PM would seem reluctant on it as well. Maybe they can give everyone $10,000 cash so we can have one last hurrah spending it before we're not allowed to spend it in $10,000 chunks again. Maybe a bit of a protest against the cash ban. What do you reckon, everyone? The consideration signals a shift from last week. Well, yeah, it does. It screams of desperation and concern, guys. I mean, they don't want to be the first government they'll be remembered as taking Australia into recession, regardless of what they can actually control and what they can't. That will be their legacy. That would suck. Be a terrible position to be in I honestly think the problem is it's years and years of our entire economy where we're a quarry, just digging stuff out of the ground and sending it overseas, and then everyone's buying houses and flipping them. A lot of our wealth is being pushed into housing. 57% of the nation's wealth, guys. And we wonder why. We wonder why we have a housing bubble. We wonder why there's no manufacturing in this nation. So we won't repeat the mistakes of the past with cash splashes, he told Sky News. According to Clennell, the government is now also considering dishing out hundreds of millions of dollars in cash to small businesses in wage subsidies, along with business tax incentives, including increasing the asset write-off. Now, I don't mind that. Honestly, the asset write-off, I think we should look at making permanent changes to our tax system to make it more efficient for businesses to invest. Even just allow small businesses that don't have the capacity to engage with the larger accounting firms like the bigger corporates do, and they can use all their little, fantastic tricks to minimize their tax spending. Rather than writing off a piece of equipment over years, let them write it off instantly. It's not. Where's the money going to go? It's not going to disappear. It's going to keep flowing through the economy. It just means it won't flow through the government before it gets redistributed. It means people get to spend it. Why not? Why not? If that can be the legacy of all of this that's going on now, that can be at least be a positive start, a positive change, a positive set of tax reform. Such a stimulus hit would mean the government sacrificing its promised budget surplus to avoid recession. And remember, the budget surplus doesn't mean the government is out of debt. It doesn't mean the debt's disappeared. They're just going to drag us more into it. Mr. Frydenberg today faced questions from reporters over whether the budget would ever get back to surplus. In a telling response, the Treasurer said, "I know that we're in balance, and that's a significant achievement. It's taken 6.5 years, but we've brought the budget back to balance, and that's part of the economic plan for Australians to live within its means," Mr. Frydenberg said. In the mid-year budget review in December, Mr. Frydenberg forecast a $5 billion surplus, which would have been the first in a decade. The government gloated about the budget's predicted return to surplus with a Back in Black campaign last year. That surplus looked to be dead, although it won't be clear until the next budget in May what the exact hit will be. Well, yeah, come on guys, it's definitely we're heading for a recession. Australia's going to be in recession, the budget's going to take a big hit because of it. Meanwhile, the Morrison government is reportedly putting the finishing touches on its stimulus package to counter the economic impacts of the illness. Mr. Frydenberg said support would be delivered using existing tax and transfer systems, which takes in welfare payments, family assistance, and pensions. He described the package under consideration as substantial, an upgrade from what he and Prime Minister Scott Morrison previously said would be a modest or measured response. It will be designed about getting support to those who need it, but also we won't undermine the structural integrity of the budget, Mr. Frydenberg told reporters in Canberra. It won't undo all the good work that has been done over the last 6.5 years to get the budget back on track. The share market shed nearly 60%, about $120 billion on Monday's opening, amid ongoing panic about the impact of the illness and an oil price plunge. Mr. Frydenberg sought to calm things, saying market volatility was not uncommon in times like this, and there were a number of factors at play. The stimulus package has been tipped to include tax incentives to help businesses with cash flow, alongside tax deductions for new investments. But here's the thing, are you going to make those new investments if we're in a recession? Or are you going to hold back? Funding will be also aimed at infrastructure spending, which normally translates to major road and rail projects. It will be worth billions in the terms of the impact it will have, Mr. Frydenberg told Sky News last week. The package of measures will be responsible and will be scalable. Cabinet will meet on Tuesday to consider the package, with an announcement likely later in the week. ACTU Secretary Sally McManus said the package must address the financial risk to Australia's 3.3 million casual workers in retail, hospitality, health and aged care who will lose pay if they get sick. We don't want people with illness or people with symptoms going to work, but they're going to have to choose between paying the bills and feeding themselves or going to work, she told Nine's Today program on Monday. Now, I did a video about that. A lot of people thought I was being heartless, but here's the thing, guys. People need to learn to prepare. People need to learn to set things aside. Every time you're shopping, maybe you just buy another pack of noodles. Things that won't go off. So you have a stockpile of food stuffs. You put a little bit of money away every time so you have enough money. Because casuals get 2 days sick leave, guys. So you have enough for 2 weeks. And I know it may just be a sign of the times that so many people are living paycheck to paycheck. I'd say that has more to do with our education system than anything. Mr. McManus noted other countries impacted by the illness were guaranteeing that casual workers wouldn't be penalised if they had to self-isolate. It should be just paid leave, she said, with employers compensated later on. Yeah, but that can destroy businesses too. That can destroy businesses too. That can destroy your entire cash flow, guys. It doesn't take much. It's costs. And what about all the casuals that are just going to be cut because of the economic decline that's coming? Business is calling for tax relief and a regulation and red tape holiday. No, I'd say reform. We need reform. Use this as an opportunity to get taxation and regulation reform happening. The government may consider reducing deeming rates for pensioners, giving local councils funding for small projects, and an expansion of instant asset write-offs for businesses. The spread of the illness, although not rampant, has already caused panic buying of toilet paper across the country. Opposition health spokesman Chris Bowen said Labor would support a sensible, direct household stimulus package similar to the payments Australians received under the Rudd government during the GFC. Last week, the Prime Minister dodged saying whether Australia risked a recession in the face of a growing virus outbreak. Asked during question time on Thursday whether he could guarantee Australia would not suffer a recession, he said, I guarantee... Well, of course he couldn't. Of course he couldn't. I can guarantee the Australian people that they will get the strong economic management they voted for. How can he guarantee it? People... Okay, it's question time. So it's designed to create sound bites that can be used against your opposition. But people really overestimate how much influence our leaders have. How much pull our government has. It's only one part of the economy, guys. And it's a bloody inefficient part at that. Treasury boss Stephen Kennedy earlier today told the Senate Economic Committee the illness could slice at least 0.5 percentage points from economic growth in Australia in the March quarter, reflecting the impact it's had on tourism, education and the dollar. This would come on top of the 0.2 percentage point detraction from growth from the bushfires. Beyond this preliminary estimate for the March quarter, it is too early to tell, given the uncertainties, what the full impact of the illness will be on the economy, he said. The extent of the impact will depend on a number of factors. How quickly it spreads, disruptions to ports, and should it become more prevalent in Australia, direct impact on economic activity. A recession is classified as 2 consecutive quarters of economic contraction, something Australia has not suffered for almost 3 decades. So perhaps this is why you've got a generation of casual workers that don't know work can disappear in an instant. Because some people said she was, 41 years old, maybe having 2 weeks buffer is unreasonable because she may have been too young to really remember the last recession. I have memories of it, but probably because my parents were in small business, and I have quite strong memories of the stress because my father was in the building game. Work just dried up real quick. Because that's what we're going to see, guys. I mean, look at building approvers. Look at how they've crashed in units. 35% seasonally adjusted. And they're asking, can you guarantee we won't be in recession? I mean, What a joke. These politicians are idiots, aren't they? Well, no, they're not idiots. They're being systematic to try and embarrass their opposition. I wonder if they were there when they heard all these speeches on the cash ban. I wonder. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions. What would you do with a cash handout? Do you think the government should do it? Do you think it will work? Or will it just create more inflation? Let me know what you think. Take care. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and you want to help us grow, there are a few ways you can. Share the content, get the videos out there, help the channel grow. You can support us financially by joining the channel here on YouTube or on Patreon. You can also use our affiliate links with Amazon and eBay for your consumer purchases, or Independent Reserve and Kucoin for the crypto traders out there. I've noticed Bitcoin's taken a bit of a beating today. We also have, the last few days, we also have merch we sell from the HeiseSays website. Find the link in the pinned comment below. Pocket squares handmade by Rachel. And finally, PayPal if you want to support us that way. Thank you, everyone. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.